Let me see what does it says and what it exactly means. So now A comma R is a poset. You people know the meaning of poset. In this poset, we are interested in seeing the extremal elements. So now I just know a partial adder is nothing but what? I told you people that elements of A are in some order. So that is what the partial adder says. A is a partial adder set. So that says the elements of A are in some order. So if that is the case, we can speak about the maximal element, a minimal, or the extremities. We can speak about the extremities in the set with respect to the relation R. Now let me start with the first four definitions, very important from the point of your examination. Definition number 1, it speaks about the maximal element. Second one is minimal element. So things are very simple. Please try to understand. Greatest element, and fourth one is least element. Okay, so we know that greatest and least comes with a comparison. Okay, greatest. If I am saying something is greatest, so I am saying with respect to the by comparing that thing with something else. Okay, least also speaks about the same thing. But when I am speaking about maximal and minimal element, there is no comparison in it. So it just speaks with respect to itself. Like for example, so okay, with respect to the poset what we have now, to call an element belongs to set A is the maximal element, we are expecting that X is at the top. Okay, X is at the top. In a way, this is what we are saying. To say X is at the top, this is what we are expecting. So no edge begins at X. Okay, X is the maximal. Okay, X is maximal element if no edge begins. No edge begins at X. That's all. So simple. I'm not at all interested in what's happening with the other elements. Have a look at the element, one particular element in the set A, and see whether that element, from that element, any edge begins or not. If any edge begins at that vertex, we say it is not a maximal element. If no edge begins at a vertex, we call it as a maximal element. And every poset carries a maximal element, at least one maximal element for sure. Similarly, can you tell me what is minimal element then? Can you guess what is minimal element, or when do we call X is minimal element? Simple. If no edge terminates, okay, if no edge terminates at X, this is at the bottommost level. Okay, this is at the bottommost level, and no edge so terminates at this one. So you can just see that edge begins at this vertex, no edge terminates at that vertex. So that's what a minimal element is. See, when I'm defining these two, no comparison. So I'm not at all interested in what's happening with the remaining elements. But when I'm saying the greatest element, when I'm saying X is greatest element, this is what we are expecting. Okay, I can put it like this. See, you people know how to read the RC diagram, right? How do we read the RC diagram? So we say that an element X is related to Y means. So we will read it from bottom to top. We'll read the RC diagram from bottom to top. So traversing. So if I want to traverse in an RC diagram, so if I want to traverse here means from 1 I can just reach 12. So 1, 3, 6, 12, or 1, 2, 4, 8, or from 6 I can reach 12. Only this much. From 6 only this much is possible. I can reach 12, that's all. From 12 I can't go anywhere else. From 4 I can reach 8. From 8 onwards I can't go anywhere from 8. Okay, this is how you read the graph. Okay, I will tell you with respect to, I will give you this definition with respect to that idea. Okay, X is called the greatest element if we can traverse from every vertex of A to X. That's all. if we can traverse from every vertex of A to X, then X is the greatest element. Then can you tell me what is the least element then? And do you say X is the least element? If we can reach every vertex of A from X. Okay, starting with X, if I can reach every other vertex of the graph, then we call that X as the least element. In this case, what's happening? From every vertex of A, I can reach X. To call X is the greatest element. Okay, so you can note that this is with the comparison. Okay, we're just seeing with by just checking with the remaining elements of the set. So we are deciding X is the greatest or X is the least element. It is just like if I ask you like, so in the second semester, how many of you scored 6 marks? Okay, so see how many of you the CGPA or SGPA is 6. So it is easy for you people to give me the answer. You need not to look at your friends. You are just raising your hand. So once if your marks is 6 or more than 6. Okay, how many of you have scored 6 or more than 6 means, so if your marks is satisfying that condition, so then you will raise your hand. Instead of that, if I ask you like, who is the topper of this class? So you are not in a position to raise your hand. You are supposed to compare your marks with your friends' marks. You are supposed to look into others. So how much others have got? You need to check them first. So then you people can say like, yes, I have got more than these students. It's more than my classmates. So which means I am the topper of this class. Okay, so this is what a greatest and least means. So greatest and least comes with the comparison with the remaining elements. But that is not the case with the maximal and minimal element. So these two are independent definitions. Okay, let me try to understand them through these examples. Okay, so from the point of your examination, so very easy to score marks also in this one. So make sure you are comfortable with the definitions. Okay, let me start with the first example. So see, this is the assay diagram. This is the representing some assay poset A comma R. Now tell me what are the maximal elements in this set. Maximal element refers to what? Friends, what are the maximal elements in this? Yes, 5 is the only element, because what the definition is, no edge begins at a vertex. So we can note from 3 edge begins, from 4 we have edge, from 2 we have edge, from 1 we have edge. So which means that none of this can be maximal element, only 5 is the maximal element here. Okay, so can you tell me what is the minimal element in this example? Which is the minimal element? No edge terminates at the vertex. Okay, no edge terminates at the vertex. Okay, so as your friend said now, it is only 1 is the element. See at 1, so no edge terminates. At 2 we have edge from here. At 4 we have edge from here. At 3 we have edge from here. At 5 we have edge. So at remaining all vertices we have edges at terminating. But only at 1 no edge is terminating, so 1 is the minimal element. Okay, now can you give me the greatest element here? Which is the greatest element? Greatest element means what? If we can reach X from every other element of the set. So from 1, can we reach 5? From 2, can we reach 5? From 3, from 4, from 5. From every vertex of this graph, can we reach 5? So 5 is the greatest element. And you can note that no other element takes this position. Because if I say 3 is the greatest element, what I am expecting? I am expecting that there should be a relation from 4 to 3. Can we go from 4 to 3? So it is just impossible. To go from 4 to 3, I need to do what? I need to traverse in the opposite direction. I just cannot read the graph from top to bottom. I always should go from bottom to top. With this approach, with the convention what we are using, I cannot reach 3. I cannot reach this, so 3 cannot be the greatest element. So 4 cannot be the greatest element because I can't reach 4 from 3. I can't reach 4 from 5. So there is a connection between 5 and 4, but I can't reach 4 from 5, because I can't read in the downward direction. I should read it only in the upward direction. So which means 5 is the greatest element because I can reach 5 from remaining all elements of this set. So now can you give me what is the least element then? Least element? The element from which you can reach remaining all elements. So from 1 we can reach 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So 5 is the least element because starting with 1, you can reach remaining every element of the set. You can reach 2, 4, 3 as well as 5. So 1 is the least element in this example. Okay, I think you people are clear with the definition now. Now let me speak with respect to the second example. Yes, what is our maximal element now? Which is the maximal element? E, very good, F, C. We have 3 elements here which are maximal because no edge begins at E, no edge begins at F, no edge begins at C. So maximal elements are written. Yes, tell me what are the minimal elements of this set? A and G, very good. A and G are the only minimal elements because no edge terminates at these 2 vertices. So the only 2 vertices at which no edge terminates. Good. Greatest element here. Least element. Very good. Very good. Nil. We can't find even a single greatest element. We can't find even single least element. See, and one more point, greatest and least is always unique. So please keep this in mind. We cannot have more than one greatest and more than one least element. But that is not the case with the maximal element, minimal element. We can have more than one. And keep this in mind, when maximal and minimal element are unique, if you get only one maximal element, only one minimal element, at that point of time, so definitely you can say that greatest element is same as your maximal element, minimal element is same as your least element. These two will be same and these two will be same. When you have got more than one, this may be your situation. Okay, now let me speak about the third example. Here's the third one, X, Y and Z. So 3 vertices with 3 loops. This is what we have. Now tell me, what are the maximal elements in this case? Very good. No edge begins at X, no edge begins at Y, no edge begins at Z. X, Y, Z are the maximal elements. What about the minimal elements? Very good. No edge terminates at X, no edge terminates at Y, no edge terminates at Z. So the same 3 elements are minimal elements also. What about the greatest element? Nil. Once again nil. So reason is we can't reach Y from X. We can't reach Z from X. So as a result, since we are not in a position to reach a vertex from the remaining vertices, so we can't find one element, so which is leading this, that is the greatest element is missing in this. If I say least element is with the same reason, it is nil again. Okay, let me speak about example number 4. This is example number 4. Yes, answer for this example number 4. Friends, in this example number 4, maximal elements. Just check with every element. So 5 cannot be the maximal, 6 cannot be the maximal because edges are beginning with these vertices. From 2, no edge begins. Okay, no edge begins from 2. So 2 is one maximal element. From 1, no edge begins. 1 is also maximal element. In this case, maximal elements are what? 1 and 2. So these are the only two elements which are the maximal elements. So can you give me the minimal elements now? Friends, which are the minimal elements? Okay, so 5, 6. Very good answer. So if you just write 5, 6, you will lose marks. You have missed 3 because even at 3, no edge terminates. Okay, you can note that no edge terminates at 3, no edge terminates at 5, no edge terminates at 6. So which means 3, 5 and 6 are the minimal elements of this set. Very good. What about the greatest element? Okay, even if it is wrong, you don't worry, just go for an attempt. So think and see what logically whatever you feel is correct, you just come with that answer. Even if it is wrong, let me correct ourselves. Yeah, which is the greatest element in this set? Just now I told you people, so if you have got more than one maximal element, you are writing that answer is greatest element is what? Nil. Least element is also nil because you have got more than one minimal elements. Okay, let me speak about example number 5. Yes, in this one, give me the maximal elements first. Minimal elements. Friends, I'm waiting for the answer. Maximal. So if you want me to give the answer, I will give you. I will give answer for all the questions, but no use. Yes, B and D. So B and D are the maximal elements. That's good. What about the minimal elements? A, C, also D. Even at D, no edge terminates. So this is acting like both maximal and minimal element. Good. What about the greatest? Greatest and least has to be nil because you have got more than one maximal and more than one minimal elements. Okay. Problem number 6. Let's give me the answer in this. What is maximal element? Minimal, greatest and least. Yes, what is the maximal element in this? Can you find one element which is not the source for any edge? Vertex from which no edge begins. Which is that vertex here? A. A is the only element from which no edge begins. From B, edge begins here. From C, we have edge. From every other vertex, we have edge begins. But from A, no edge begins. So A is the maximal. What about the minimal? F. Very good. F is the minimal because so at F, no edge terminates. No edge ends at F. Okay, what about the greatest element now? So can we reach A? So that's what? After identifying the maximal element, this is what you should do. So can we reach that maximal element from remaining all vertices of this graph? Yes, you can reach. So A is the greatest. So can we reach remaining all elements from F? Yes, we can reach all the elements. So which means F is the least element. Yeah, tell me the answer for 7th question now. Give me what is maximum, which is the maximal element? Greatest, least. Say I have not given you the formal definition just to make you people comfortable with the definition. Okay, so I have given you a simple blind method, blind idea here. Whatever the idea I have given here, this is not the formal definition of the maximal or minimal or greatest or least elements. I have given this definition just to make you people feel comfortable with the things. Because from the point of your examination, the definitions are not important for me here. So what is important is your understanding. That's why, so please make use of it. Please respond. So which is the maximal element in it? Good. Minimal element? Good. Greatest element? Good. Least? Very good. Yeah, that's nice. Good. So let me consider one more example here. Okay, so this is what I have. Okay, this is my graph. So give me the answer for this. So give me the maximal element, minimal element. If we have greatest, which is the greatest, and if we have least, which is the least element. Every graph carries maximal and minimal element for sure. Greatest and least need not be exist in the assay diagram or in the POSIT. Okay, what is the maximal element in this graph? Good. Minimal element. Which is the minimal element? Good. All are A. Very good. See, you have got only one element in this set, but you are saying that is a maximal element, minimal element, greatest element, least element. I have a class in which only one student is there. If I speak about okay, so who has scored the more marks, so least marks or greatest marks or topper, everyone should be the same student. So that's what the situation is. I've got only one element in my set A. So and we have A comma A in my relation R. So and we can note that so maximal, minimal, greatest and least all are same. Okay, let me consider this one more example. This is A. This one is B. This is C. This is D. And this is E. Okay, this is what my one more graph. So now in this example, please give me which is the maximal element, minimal element, greatest element and least element. Greatest and least. Which is the maximal element here? Very good. B is the maximal element because from B no edge begins. Okay, minimal element. Because no edge terminates at A. Greatest element. Very good. Least element. Nice. Good. So like this, you people can just take any other examples here. You can just speak about this example also. Okay, in this one, can you give me the greatest element? Friends, can you give me the greatest element in this example? Very good. 8 is the only element which is the greatest because even from 7 we have a relation to 8. So 8 is at the top and from this 8 no edge begins. 8 is the greatest element. And here 1 is the least element because from 1 we can reach remaining all elements of the set. And from 8 we can reach 8 from remaining all elements of this set. Okay, in this example 6 is the greatest. 6 is the maximal element. But when we come to the least element, so no least element in this one as maximal elements are 1, 2 and 3. So and I can't reach 2 from 1, I can't reach 3 from 1. So as a result we can't find a single element from which we can reach the remaining all elements of the set so that I can call that one as the least element. Okay, so like that you can just discuss in the remaining examples also. Even in these examples you people can discuss this. Lattice is not there in your syllabus. You can just take off this lattice. In these examples, you just try to find, okay, you need not to learn lattice. Instead, you just try to find least element, greatest element, and what maximal, minimal. You just try to understand those things through these examples. Okay, so I hope you people are comfortable with these 4 definitions. Let me just repeat once again. An element from which no edge begins is the maximal. An element at which no edge terminates is the minimal. Greatest means an element which can be reached from remaining all elements of the set is the greatest. An element from which we can reach the remaining all elements of the set gives the least element. Okay, next one is the continuation of this, but it is a different one. If you have A comma R a poset, okay, so if you consider a subset B of A, okay, this is very, very important. Now next four definitions are with respect to the subset B of A. So this is what the definition says. So first one is, okay, so I can just put it as fifth definition. Fifth definition is upper bound. Okay, upper bound. We normally denote it as UB. So next one, lower bound, LB. So for seventh one, least among the upper bound, least upper bound, that is LUB. So eighth one, greatest among the lower bound, greatest lower bound, and we call it as GLB. So least upper bound is also called as supremum. Supremum. And greatest lower bound is also called as infimum. So please try to understand this definition. See, I could have discussed these definitions individually, but I am not doing that. I am just discussing all the four definitions together, just to show you people the difference between them. Okay, in what way the one definition differs from the other one? You just need to understand that. That's why. Okay, so now upper bound, lower bound, LUB, or it may be GLB or supremum or infimum. These four definitions are directly depends on the subset B of A. Okay, the first four definitions what we learned: maximal element, minimal element, greatest and least element. These are independent definitions. So those are directly dependent, decided on A. On the set A, we are discussing those four definitions. But so these four definitions are discussed with respect to subset B of A. This is what the definition says. It says that an element, okay, an element X belongs to A is upper bound of set B. Okay, so every element of B is also element of A. Please keep this in mind. Every element of B is also an element of A. Now where we are searching the upper bound? We are searching upper bound in set A for what? For the set B. Okay, an element X belongs to A is upper bound of B if we can reach, okay, let me just put it in the same lines. If we can reach X from every vertex of B. Okay, from every element of B, if you can reach X, then X is called the upper bound. Okay, can you tell me what is lower bound then? Friends, what is lower bound? An element X belongs to A is lower bound of B if we can reach every element of X, every element of B, if we can reach every element of B from X. Okay, so if I can reach every element of the set B from X, then X is called the lower bound of the set B. Okay, so which means you people know the definition of least and greatest already. So you can find more than one upper bound. So among the upper bounds, so which one is the least? Least refers to what? So one lower bound that is related to remaining all, one upper bound which is related to remaining all upper bounds. Greatest lower bound means among the lower bound, identify the one lower bound to which remaining all lower bounds are connected. That is, from remaining all lower bounds, I can reach that lower bound. It's called the greatest among the lower bounds. Okay, let me try to understand this through a simple example. Okay, people, please try to understand these things. It is so easy. And if the question is for 8 marks, the question is just like So find the maximal element, minimal element, greatest and least. If you just write this in 4 numbers, so 4 values, you will get 4 marks for it. See, things are so simple, you should make sure that you are not losing marks in it. Okay, so this is my one of the assay diagram corresponds to some poset. Now let me assume that my set B is, okay, set A contains what? All these elements are present in my A. Let me consider one set B. So B contains the elements D and E. Okay, D and E are the 2 elements present in my set. Now tell me which are the upper bounds, lower bounds, and least upper bound and greatest lower bounds of this example. Okay, so which are the elements here? D and E are the 2 elements I have taken from what? Set A, and I call this set as set B. So B is subset of A now. Now we need to identify the elements from set A. I need to identify the elements from A. That is, any element or any vertex that you people are seeing in this is called the upper bound, provided I can reach that vertex from D and E. Which are the vertices I can reach from D and E? From both D and E, which are the vertices I can reach? Very good. Yes, I can reach F, G and H from D. So from D, I can reach all these 3 vertices. Upper bounds are G, F and H. Let me come to the lower bounds. So what the lower bound definition says, identify the vertices from which you can reach all the elements of B. These are the elements here. I can reach the elements of B from the elements of set A. Which are those elements? From A I can reach D as well as E. From C I can reach D as well as E. From B I can reach D as well as E. So which means elements are what? C, A, B. So these are 3 elements from which I can reach both D and E. All the elements of set B. Now let me identify the least upper bound. So G, F, H are the upper bounds here. Least means what? Identify the one upper bound from which you can reach the remaining all upper bounds. Which is that element here? Yes. Now, greatest among the lower bounds. A, C, B are the lower bounds. Among this, which is the one upper bound, which is the one lower bound to which remaining elements are related? Yes. C is the element to which I can reach from both A as well as from B and from C also. So which means if you can find more than one upper bound and lower bound, out of them one may be supremum and one may be infimum. Maybe, I am using the word maybe because there are chances that you may have more than one upper bound but still no supremum. Those situations are possible. Keep that in mind. We'll discuss such kind of examples little later. Let me take next example now. So in the same set, in the same assay diagram, I will choose my B is equal to F and C. Okay, F and C are the elements in my set. Now can you give me the upper bounds, please? Upper bounds, lower bounds. So LUB and GLB. Friends, please try. No issues. So no matter whether your answer is right or wrong. So don't worry about the mistakes. G and H. Okay. So do you mean G and H are the only 2 elements which are present in my set which are connected to so this F and C both are connected? What about F? So can't we reach F from F and from C? Yes, I can reach because at every vertex we have a loop, which means from F we can reach F as well as from C we can reach F. C and F are the elements which are present in my B. From both the elements I can reach F, I can reach G, I can reach H. When I come to the lower bound, so I can reach F and C both from A. I can reach F and C both from B. I can reach C from C as well as I can reach F from C. So which means A, C, B are the elements from which we can reach both the elements F and C of the set B. Now identify the least among the upper bound F, G, H. Among this, which is the least? F is the least because from which we can reach remaining all elements. What about the greatest lower bound now? Among A, C, B, which is the greatest among these lower bounds? A, C, B? Very good, C. That's all. See, so simple. Now let me consider my set B contains only one element. Let it be just C. Good. Now tell me which are the upper bounds of this. Lower bounds. Least upper bound. Greatest lower bound. So set contains only one element in it. B contains only one element. So which are the elements to which C is connected? From C to C is possible, right? Next C to D is possible. C to E is possible. C to F is possible. C to G is possible. C to H is possible. Now which are the elements from which I can reach C? From A I can reach C. From B I can reach C. From C I can reach C. Now identify the least upper bound. These are all the upper bounds of me. Okay, these are all upper bounds. Out of which is the least? C is the least. Because I can reach remaining all elements of this set starting with C. Which is the greatest among the lower bounds? Which are the lower bounds? C, A, B are the lower bounds. Among which is the greatest? C is the greatest because I can reach C from A as well as from B. C is the greatest. You can note that in this example, C is the upper bound, lower bound. It is the least among the upper bound, greatest among the lower bounds. And in this example, you can note that D and E are the elements. These two are not part of my upper bound set, not part of lower bound set. So upper bound contains what? F, G, H. Lower bound contains C, A, B. And we found F is the greatest lower bound and C is F is the least among the upper bound. C is the greatest among the lower bounds. And these two are not part of this set. But in this example, you found that F and C both are present in my set B and they are also least upper bound and greatest lower bound. In this example, C is playing the role of all. Okay, so you can just it is about analyzing the situation afterwards. So right now let me just consider one more example. So G, D, B. Okay, these are the elements in my set. So tell me the upper bounds, lower bounds, least among the upper bounds, greatest among the lower bounds. G, D, B. Which is the upper bound? G and H. Friend, to call this H is the upper bound, what is the expectation? I should reach H from G. Can we reach H from G? Every vertex, I'm saying here every vertex. It is not about one vertex. For every vertex this should be true. So I can't reach H from G. It fails. So for D and B what you're telling is fine. But I can't reach H from G. So which means H cannot be the upper bound. You should always do this. So you should know always like, so why it is not possible. That is what I was telling you people right from the beginning. It is not just about understanding the definition like, so if this is the true, then it happens. It is not just like that. And you should also know when it is not true. Okay, that's good. So good try. Thank you. And G is the only element which satisfying this condition. Because I can reach G, from D, and from B. Which is the lower bound? Now it is easy for people to guess. Which is the lower bound now? Very good. It's an easy guess. Because starting from B, I can reach B, I can reach D, I can reach G. Now which is the least upper bound? I told you people already. So in a class, if we have got only one student, he has to be the topper and he has to be the least person, he has to be the greatest person. So every role will be played by the same student. He is a class representative, he is a ranked student, he has scored less marks, the greatest marks, everything will be played by the same student. Okay, what is the least among the upper bounds then? So it's only one element. So when you have got only one upper bound, that itself becomes the least upper bound. When you have got only one lower bound, that itself becomes the greatest. It is B. Yeah, thank you. Let me consider one more. See, I am discussing so many examples just to make sure that you are comfortable with the concept. Okay, so please make use of it. Okay, please let me try this one. D, C, B are the elements. Now tell me, so which are the upper bounds, lower bounds, least among the upper bounds, greatest among the lower bounds? In the exam, a sure question on this concept. That's why please make sure you are comfortable with this. As which are the upper bounds of this set? Okay, I'll just give you a small clue. Please keep this in mind. See, if you just look into DCB, so DCB is there here. Okay, so have a look at this one. If you want to find the upper bound, it will be above this. Okay, D and above this. If you want to find the lower bound, B and below this. There's the blind idea I can suggest to people. So you don't look at this in these places for upper bound, because D is already here, so we can't find the upper bound below this. B is there here, we can't find the lower bound. So we can't find the upper bound here. At the same time, we can't find the lower bound. So above this, and it should be B and below this. So now if people give me the answer, what is the answer? Please come again. D. Very good. D, F, G, H. Right. So which is the least, lower bound? B. That's the only possibility. So B is the only element from which I can reach B, C and D. So and no element below this. So that's all. So what about the least among the upper bounds? Yes, very good. D. Greatest among the lower bounds? Very good. So simple now. Yeah. Let me take a different example now. So now you people who are comfortable with this, let me just take a different one to handle the same. Okay, we'll just discuss this example and this. Okay, so in this example, let me take my set B is equal to, please, and don't look at the cube in a three-dimensional. So don't take it as a three-dimensional picture. So actually that is the one thing which confuses us. So in determining the paths, so just keep this in mind. So this is 8 and we are just moving like this. So 8, 7, we can reach 8 from this, like I can just move like this, I can just move like this, I can reach like this. So from 1 I can reach the remaining all elements. From 2 I can reach 8. So from 5 I can reach 6 and I can reach 2 and also I can reach 8 like this. Okay, now let me consider this elements. So B contains the elements 4 and 5. Okay, 4 and 5 are the two elements present in my set. Now tell me which is the upper bound, lower bound, and least among the upper bounds, greatest among the lower bounds. Yes, which is the upper bound for this? What I told you people, 4 and 5. So which means, so 4, 5 and above this. So only in this set we can find the upper bound. So can we have 6 is the upper bound? First of all, 4 and 5 cannot be the upper bound, right? 4 and 5 cannot be the upper bound because I can't reach 5 from 4 and I can't reach 5 from 4. I can't go from year to year, year to year. So it is not possible. So 4 and 5 cannot be the upper bound. Leave them. Next, if I come to 3, I can't reach 3 because if I have to reach 3, I have to come down. I can't do that. I have to go move in the upward direction only. Okay, so 3 cannot be the upper bound. So if I come to 6, so 6 is not upper bound again because I can reach 6 from 5. But what about from 4? From 4, if I am supposed to reach 6, what I need to do? I need to come down here. I need to go up and I go up here. So that cannot be done because I just cannot come down. So 6 cannot be the upper bound. If I consider 7, once again 7 cannot be the upper bound because I can't reach 7 from 5. But if I consider 2, it is an upper bound because from 4 I can reach 2. From 5 I can reach 2. So 2 is the upper bound. If I consider 8, yes, from 4 I can reach 2. So 2 to 8. And the same thing happens even from this. Or you can reach 4 to 7, 7 to 8. 5 to 6, 6 to 8. In both the ways you can note that you can reach 8. So 2 and 8 are the upper bounds. It's good. Let me talk about the lower bounds now. So lower bounds means I told you people that 4, 5 and the elements below this should be the lower bounds. So 4 and 5 cannot be the lower bounds because once again the same reason. From 4 I can't reach 5. From 5 I can't reach 4. Leave them. So 3 cannot be the lower bound. So though the position of this 3 is below this 4 and 5, but because you can't reach it. If you want to reach this 3, so I'm supposed to move like this, I'm supposed to move like this. Or from 3 also I can't reach 5. If I am supposed to reach 5 from 3, I should move to 6 and 6 to I should come down. It cannot be done. The same thing happens with this also. So 3 cannot be the lower bound. If I come to 1, from 1 I can reach 4 as well as 5. So 1 is the lower bound. Okay. So which is the least among the upper bounds, 8 and 2. It is not the numerical value we are looking for. You can have 2 here, 8 here. It doesn't make any difference. Greatest and least, whatever we are discussing, it is with respect to the position it is taking, hierarchy. Actually, partial order speaks about the hierarchy. Equivalence relation doesn't speak about the hierarchy. Partial order speaks about the hierarchy. Yeah. So least among the upper bound, 8 and 2. So which is that one vertex from which I can reach the remaining vertices, remaining upper bounds. So among 8 and 2, I can reach 8 from 2. So which means 2 is the least among the upper bound. So where we have only one lower bound, that itself becomes the greatest lower bound. So which means my answer is 1. Let me consider one more example. So once you people feel like, sir, we are comfortable, you can just leave the class. I'll just leave the class itself. Because so from my part, so the things are done. So this is what you are supposed to cover. I am just discussing examples here just to make sure you are comfortable with the concept. That's all. So once you feel like you are comfortable, you just tell me. So 4 and 6. Let me consider this one. So can you give me the upper bound, lower bound, least among the upper bound, greatest among the lower bound? Yes. Can you try this? 4 and 6. Very good. So 8 is the only element to which from we can reach 4 from 4 and 6. Very good. Yes. Lower bound. Yes. Lower bound is just 1 because I can't reach 3. From 3 I can't reach 4. From 3 I can reach 6. But from 1 I can reach 6. So which means that 1 is the lower bound. So it means obviously this itself becomes the least and this becomes the greatest. That's nice. I just wanted to discuss this last example. Okay, people, arbitrarily try them. If you get any doubts, you just come back. I'll just help you. No issues. Okay, in this example, I'm just taking it intentionally. Let me consider. Okay, let me take this one. So my B set B contains, so I will show you the speciality of this example. So B contains the elements, so 1 and 3. Yes. So tell me the upper bounds of this set, lower bounds, and greatest among the upper bound, sorry, least among the upper bound, greatest among the lower bounds. Yes. Give me the answer. 1 and 3. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Very good. From 1, 3 we can reach 4 as well as 5 reach 6. So 4, 5, 6 are the upper bounds. Lower bounds? Very good. Which is the least upper bound? Very good. Nil. Other R does not exist. So this is what I wanted to tell you people. See, when you have more than one upper bound, it doesn't guarantee us that you have the least among those upper bounds. In this case, 4 cannot be the least because I can't reach 5 from 4. So 5 cannot be the least because from 5 I can't reach 4. So 6 cannot be the least upper bound because from 6 we can't reach both 4 and 5. So we have got more than one upper bound, but still we are not in a position to find this least upper bound. Actually, the least upper bound and greatest lower bounds always seals the set B. Okay, set B will be sealed by the supremum and infimum. If you just observe them carefully, that is what happens. In this example, if I consider this FC, you can note that this F is the supremum, C is the infimum, and this seals this set B. So when you consider D and E, so F is the supremum, C is the infimum. It seals this set. Okay, so it seals from top and bottom. Okay, so with this explanations, I think you people are comfortable and you people are comfortably giving the answer and the two right answers. So thank you all, and please go through the question bank to find so many other questions, and don't look at lattice. So let me repeat, lattice is not part of your syllabus. So if you want to know the definition of lattice, this is what it says. It says that for every pair of elements, okay, in the poset, this is a poset, it is representing poset, right? A poset is called a lattice provided for every pair of elements we can find the supremum and infimum. So this cannot be the lattice because for 1 and 3 we couldn't find what supremum. We found the infimum, but we couldn't find the supremum, so it cannot be a lattice. So, but this becomes a lattice. You can note that for every pair of elements, you can find supremum as well as the infimum. That can be done. So then if that is the case, it is called a lattice. This one is lattice, this one is lattice, this one lattice, this is not the lattice. So because for D and H, we can't do the same thing. A disconnected graph cannot be a lattice. Okay. So, but you need not to worry about the definition of lattice. We just concentrate on maximal, minimal, greatest and least element. These 3 or 4 definitions are discussed with respect to the set A directly. Okay, these are with respect to the set A. But this upper bound, lower bound, least upper bound and greatest lower bound, these 4 definitions are spoken with respect to the subset of A. So please try to fit this into your mind. So I think that's enough. Thank you all. If you have any doubts, you can just call me and I will send you the complete notes today. People, please go through the notes. And all the best for your internals. So please do well. Thank you. Have a nice day. Thank you.